Chapter 20 to sequence initiation. Up the stairs, back in the reception hall, Klein was about to say goodbye to Roseanne when she heard the brunette say in a brisk voice, "The captain asked you to come back on Monday and take care of some chores at home first." Okay. Klein didn't expect the night watch team to be so humanized and was momentarily grateful. He originally planned to get up early tomorrow, take advantage of the opportunity to do slobbering this job outside in the morning, go to Tingen University, find the teacher responsible for the interview reception, and say that he will not participate in the follow-up link. After all, the original owner is holding the recommendation letter of the mentor to enter the interview. Anyway, there is a replacement is the basic courtesy, even if not for its own consideration. You have to respect your mentor. In the absence of a telephone, when telegrams were charged per letter, and when it was obviously too late to send a letter, it was the most economical and appropriate way to go directly by stagecoach. Now with the captain's special approval, Klein doesn't need to be so tired and can get up with a full sleep and take it easy. Klein was about to take off her hat when she remembered, looked around and whispered, "Roseanne, do you know the beginning of that complete sequence that the church has?" It was something he had just forgotten to ask old Neil. Roseanne looked at Klein wide-eyed in surprise and said, "You want to be extraordinary? Am I being that obvious?" Klein touched the corners of her mouth and replied, slightly embarrassed, knowing that there really are extraordinary, mysterious powers in the world. It's hard not to feel a little yearning. "My goddess, do you know how dangerous that is? Didn't the captain tell you? The enemies of the extraordinary are not only cultists and dark wizards, but also themselves. Almost every year, people lose control and people die. Don't you think about your own family?" Roseanne reinforced her voice with gestures and reacted slightly overreacted. "Klein, I think it is better to be an honest clerical worker. There is almost no danger, and the salary will increase every year. When you work for a few years, you have savings. You can rent a single house in the north or the suburbs, and you can form a beautiful family with a charming lady. Have lovely, naughty little angels." "Roseanne, stop. Stop." Klein sees the brown-haired girl talking further and further, and quickly stops her with a sweat on her forehead. "I just want to, get some basic knowledge." "All right." Roseanne was silent for a few seconds, lowered her eyes, and said unshyly, "Because of my father. I always get, a little excited about things like that. But, frankly, I have a lot of respect for every man and woman who volunteers to be a night watchman." I understand. Klein quickly agreed. Roseanne winked her light brown pupils and added, "My father used to say, do not think that becoming more powerful, becoming extraordinary in a higher order, will solve the hidden danger against the danger. In fact, on the contrary, you will encounter more and more terrible things when you encounter some unknown, horrible existence. Madness and death are the only two endings." He said this the second week he died. "Klein, don't look at me with pity. I have a good life, a really good life. You should be afraid of these things. I'm just trying to get the basics." Klein didn't know whether to cry or laugh as she repeated her answer. "Mr. Captain speaks more clearly than you, more clearly, and I have met with great things, if not extraordinary ones." "All right." Roseanne thought, "I have heard Captain and old Neil say, because of the reduction and extinction of extraordinary species, high sequence of strong in today's era is almost no longer, can become extraordinary is very powerful. We have hundreds of thousands of people in the suburb of Tinganga. Probably, maybe more, only about 30 extraordinary people. Well, I guess. Well, I didn't count the cultists and dark wizards who live in the dark corners." Before Klein could speak, she seemed to clench her fist in front of her chest with renewed vigor. And of these 30 or so extraordinary ones, sequence 9 is the majority. I seem to be off topic. That's okay. That's common sense I want to know. Klein wanted Roseanne to ramble and reveal more, as she usually does. In short, to be extraordinary is already very powerful. Very powerful. Roseanne repeated, the beginning of the complete sequence belonging to our church is the sleepless. Sequence 9, the sleepless. Sure enough, Klein nodded and heard Miss Roseanne continue on country. Y'all should guess from the name. Sleepless is a person who does not need to sleep at night and only needs 3 to 4 hours of rest during the day. Who you really envy? No, I don't envy it at all. Sleep is the gift of the goddess. It is the happiest thing. Where was I? Yes, the sleepless don't need light to see through the dark, and the deeper the night, the stronger it gets. And I mean stronger in every way, including their strength, their inspiration, their mind. But while they can see the unknown dangers hidden in the dark, they still have to use hunting bullets and other items when they encounter monsters that normal methods can't solve. My father was a sleepless man. Without waiting for Klein to ask, Rosanna said, after that, Midnight Poet in sequence 8, and above that, Nightmare in sequence 7. Nightmares, Klein suddenly remembered done. Smith directing her dream and asked it affirmatively, Captain, you know. Miss Roseanne's mouth was almost open in an O shape. Captain was in my dream. Klein looked from side to side and lowered her voice again. Understand. Roseanne suddenly realized and whispered back. She picked up her nearby coffee cup, took a sip, and said, there are only 2 members of the church in Artingen City, and the captain is one of them. And even if he goes to a large parish like Bakeland, he is a very powerful man, and some deacons are not necessarily better than him. The captain is so great. Klein smiled and agreed. To be honest, Dunsmith's appearance in the middle of the night last night was so impressive that I almost instinctively believed he was an extraordinary man. Of course, Roseanne straightened her back proudly. Immediately, thinking about the jump, she said with a distressed expression, I don't know what is above the sequence 7. Perhaps the entire night watch team. Only the captain knows. What about the other sequence starts? The incomplete ones. Klein contentedly changed the subject. It has to be said that the sleepless described by Roseanne does meet some of his imagination and expectations of the extraordinary. But it is not the kind of he wants to be. And the perfect sequence 9, in his mind, should be able to learn and master a lot of mysterious knowledge, laying the foundation for understanding the reason for his own crossing and crossing back in the future. Roseanne thought for a moment and sighed. Yeah, I'm not very interested in this aspect, but I know more than other churches. After all, the goddess is also the mother of secrets. Well, there must be 2 or 3, because some of the players are always cold and scary and smell funny. And some of the players, well, I mean old Neil. He knows a lot and has a lot of fun magic rituals. Let me think. He once said that his sequence 9 title, which is the name of the potion formula. Ah yes, it's called Peeper. Lots of fun magical rituals. The secret man. Sounds pretty close to what I want. Klein rejoiced. And I know the name of a sequence 7, the kind with an incomplete path. Roseanne, reminded of something else by the memory, said in an ostentatious tone. What is it? Klein was curious. At a time when high-order strength is scarce or perhaps absent, sequence 7 is the backbone of the church, right? With a sweet smile, Roseanne answered with a slight sense of meaning. Psychic. Ms. Daly? Klein asked unconsciously. After the initial surprise, he felt that this thing was not so surprising, and only the strong in sequence 7 could achieve Ms. Daly's psychic performance. Roseanne's eyes widened once more, and she spoke in disbelief. How did you know? I've met Ms. Daly. Klein wasn't hiding anything. All right, Roseanne said in a wistful tone. If I could just be a psychic like Ms. Daly, then I'd be extraordinary. No, I'd think about it for 10 minutes. Well, Ms. Daly has fulfilled all my expectations of the extraordinary. Klein chimed in slightly pompously. He completed the expected purpose, and Roseanne chat for a few minutes. See no other information, then take off his hat salute. Goodbye to go out. Down the stairs, Klein took a few steps, paused, reached back, and touched the bill in her inside pocket. Then he took out the 12-pound note and held it tightly in the palm of his left palm. Then he put his hand in his trouser pocket and refused to loosen it or take it out again. A smile broke over his face. According to Chinese custom, after you get the money, you have to go out and have a meal. Treat my sister to a nice dinner tonight.